My name is Sarah Mitchell. I am 34 years old, and for 8 years I worked as an ICU nurse at Manchester Royal Infirmary. I have seen hundreds of people die. I have watched families fall apart in those final moments, screaming, begging, bargaining with a God they suddenly remembered existed. But I never believed in any of it. I was an atheist. Completely, death was just the end. The body stops and the brain shuts down. Nothing more. Until one cold November night, when everything I believed shattered in front of my eyes. It was 2 a.m. The ICU was quiet, except for the steady beeping of monitors. Then the doors burst open. Paramedics rushed in with a 7-year-old man, cardiac arrest. His name was Ahmed Hassan. His heart had stopped twice in the ambulance. We got him stabilized, but barely. His chances were maybe 20%. Behind the paramedics came his family, his wife, Fatima, 2 sons, a daughter. I expected what I always saw, panic, tears, desperation, but what I witnessed instead stopped me cold. They were calm, not the calm of shock, not denial, something else entirely, something I had never seen in 8 years of working in intensive care. The wife, Fatima, came to me. Her eyes were wet, but her voice was steady. She asked if she could see her husband. I told her yes, but warned her he might not make it through the night. She nodded slowly. Then she said something I will never forget. Do not be sorry. He lived a good life, and now, inshallah, he is in a better place, if Allah wills it. I stared at her. Inshallah, if Allah wills. She smiled through her tears and said, we believe death is not the end. It is just a door. We will see him again. I wanted to argue, to tell her that death was the end, that there was nothing after. But I could not speak, because in 8 years of watching people die, I had never seen anyone face it like this. The family stayed all night. They did not scream. They did not beg the doctors to do more. Instead, they prayed, quietly in Arabic. I watched them from the nurse's station. They took turns sitting with Ahmed, holding his hand, whispering to him. Their faces were peaceful, sad, yes, but peaceful. At 3 a.m., Ahmed's heart rate dropped dangerously low. The monitors screamed. We rushed in. His son looked at me and said, do what you can, but if Allah wants to take him, we accept it. I had never heard a family member say that before. Usually they demanded everything, every machine, every drug, every desperate measure. Ahmed died at 6:47 a.m. I was the one who turned off the machines. I have done this hundreds of times, but this time my hands were shaking. When I told the family, Fatima closed her eyes and whispered something in Arabic. Then she looked at me and said, Alhamdulillah. All praise is due to Allah. He was a good man now. He is with his Lord. I stood there frozen. She was thanking God. Her husband just died, and she was thanking God. The daughter hugged her mother. The sons stood quietly with tears on their faces, but no anger, no rage at the universe. They began reciting verses I did not understand. Their voices were soft, beautiful. Even in the middle of death, they found something that looked like peace. The family left an hour later. I went home. I could not sleep. I kept seeing Fatima's face, that impossible calm, that absolute certainty. I had watched atheists die, Christians die, Jews die, Hindus die. But I had never seen anyone face death like that. Muslim family. For 2 weeks, I could not stop thinking about it. I questioned everything. My colleagues noticed. One asked if I was okay. I told her I was fine. But I was not fine. Something had cracked open inside me. Then another Muslim patient arrived, a 52-year-old woman named Amina, severe brain hemorrhage. The doctors gave her maybe 48 hours. Her family came. Same thing, calm prayers, peace. I could not understand it. So I finally asked. I went to Amina's mother and said, how do you stay so calm when your daughter might die? She looked at me with kind eyes and said, because we believe that Allah knows what is best for us. If He takes her, it is because her time has come. If He lets her live, it is because He has more for her to do. Either way, we trust Him. I shook my head, but how do you just trust like that? She smiled. You learn it by knowing. Allah by reading His words, by understanding His mercy. Would you like to know more? I should have said, no, I was an atheist. I did not believe in God. But instead, I heard myself say, yes. She gave me a small book, an English translation of the Quran. I took it home. That night after my shift, I opened it. I did not expect anything, but I started reading. Indeed, to Allah we belong, and to Allah we shall return. I read that line 5 times. To Allah we belong, to Allah we shall return. Something in my chest tightened. I kept reading, page after page, and I could not stop. The Quran talked about life, death, purpose. It said this life was a test, that death was not the end, but a return, that every soul would taste death, but the righteous would find peace. For 3 months, I researched, I watched videos, I talked to Muslim colleagues at the hospital. I learned about prayer, about submission to God, about trusting in a plan bigger than myself. And slowly, something inside me began to change. I realized I had been wrong. Death was not the end. It could not be, because that family's peace was real. That trust was real, and it came from something bigger than themselves. Then in February, something happened that sealed everything. A 4 or 5-year-old Muslim man named Khalid came into the ICU. Massive heart attack. We worked on him for 40 minutes. Nothing. His heart would not restart. The doctor was about to call it time of death. But Khalid's brother was in the corner praying, whispering, and I do not know why. But I found myself whispering too. Not a prayer. I did not know how. But I whispered, please, if you are real, if you are there, please. Khalid's heart started beating just like that. The monitor beeped once, twice. Steady rhythm. The doctor stared at the screen. I don't understand, he said. That should not be possible. But it was possible. Khalid survived. He walked out of that hospital 3 weeks later. I knew then, I knew with absolute certainty, there was a God, and He was listening. 2 weeks later, I went to a mosque. My hands were shaking. A woman greeted me. I told her I wanted to learn about Islam. She smiled and said, you are already on the path, sister. On March 15th, I took my Shahada. I testified that there is no God, but Allah and Muhammad is His messenger. I cried through the whole thing, not from sadness, from relief, from finally understanding what that family had, what Fatima had, what every Muslim patient I had ever seen had: peace, real peace. The kind that does not break even when death comes knocking. My life changed completely after that. I started praying 5 times a day. I wore a hijab. Some colleagues were supportive. Others were confused. My parents were shocked because for the first time in my life, I understood why I was here, what my purpose was. I still work in the ICU. I still watch people die, but now I pray for them. Muslim or not, I pray that they find peace, that they find the truth before it is too late, because I almost missed it. I almost died an atheist, never knowing, never understanding, but Allah had mercy on me. He showed me the truth through the most unlikely place, through death itself, and now I know death is not the end. It is just the beginning.